Eat these vegetables for rock-hard erections. If you're a man over 60 who's been quietly struggling with changes in the bedroom, what I'm about to share could completely transform your story. I'm not talking about prescription drugs or those expensive pills that companies advertise everywhere. I'm talking about 3 common vegetables you can find at any grocery store. Vegetables that might already be sitting in your refrigerator right now. I'm Dr. Michael Anderson, a men's health specialist in urology with 35 years of experience helping men reclaim their strength, confidence, and masculine vitality. Over the past 3 decades, I've sat across from thousands of patients, seeing the worry in their eyes when they admit that their body doesn't respond like it used to. And I've also witnessed the incredible transformations when they applied what I'm about to share with you. No complex procedures are needed, no lifelong dependence on stimulant drugs. Right now, you have 2 choices. You can turn off this video and continue living with those silent frustrations, thinking this is just an unavoidable part of getting older. Or you can spend the next 20 minutes listening. I'll show you exactly which vegetables to eat, what time of day gives you maximum results, and especially which vegetable you should eat before bedtime to wake up feeling like a different man. If you're ready to reclaim the confidence and masculine energy you once had, hit that like button right now and let me know you're listening. Before we dive into the 3 vegetables that can change your life, I need to share a truth that few people dare speak publicly. According to research from the American Urological Association, after age 60, approximately 68% of men experience difficulties with erectile function. But here's the sad part. Only 23% of them seek help. Why is this number so low? Society has convinced us that this is just a natural part of aging and that we must accept it and suffer in silence. I'm here to tell you that's completely wrong. Throughout my years of practice, I've learned one crucial thing. Age is not the enemy. The real problem lies in 2 fundamental factors that our bodies need to function normally. That's blood circulation and natural testosterone levels. Think about this. A healthy erection is basically about blood flow. When blood can't move freely and powerfully through the blood vessels leading to the penis, then no matter how much desire or passion you have, your body simply can't respond. At the same time, testosterone, the hormone that controls male desire, energy, and confidence, naturally declines as we age. But here's what most doctors won't tell you. This decline is not irreversible. The 3 vegetables I'm about to share work like natural tools, supporting both of these critical systems. They help expand and soften blood vessels, boosting blood flow to where it's needed most. At the same time, they provide the nutrients your body needs to maintain and even enhance natural testosterone production. If you're following along and what I'm sharing makes sense to you, type the number 1 in the comments. This helps me know I'm on the right track and that you're ready to learn more. Now let's explore the first vegetable together. One that might be sitting right in your refrigerator and you never imagined it could be this powerful. I'll never forget Robert Thompson, 67 years old, a retired construction engineer from Houston, Texas. He walked into my clinic on a March afternoon last year, carrying himself like a man who was still strong on the outside, but his eyes were filled with a sadness I'd seen too many times before. Robert sat down, looked me straight in the eye and said, "Dr. Anderson, I've been married to Sarah for 42 years. I still love her like the day we first met in college. But my body," he paused, his voice trembling slightly, "my body can't express that love anymore." Robert's story wasn't unique compared to hundreds of other men I'd encountered, but there was something in the way he spoke, in the genuine pain I could feel radiating from him, that told me this was a man ready to change if given the chance. He didn't want those little blue pills. He didn't want to depend on chemicals for the rest of his life. He just wanted to feel like himself again. That's when I told Robert about something he thought I was kidding about. "Beetroot?" He laughed out loud, the first time I'd seen him smile since walking into my office. "Dr. Anderson, you're pulling my leg, right? Sarah makes me beetroot juice for breakfast every morning, but I never thought it could help with that problem." I understood his reaction. Most men had the same response when I first mentioned this. But I explained to Robert that the most potent solutions sometimes hide in the simplest things. I asked him to trust me for 6 weeks. Just 6 weeks. If nothing changed, we'd discuss other options. 6 weeks later, Robert returned to my clinic. This time the first thing I noticed was how he walked. There was confidence in every step, an energy I hadn't seen during our first meeting. He sat down, looked me straight in the eye and said, "Dr. Anderson, I don't know what you did, but I feel like I'm 45 again." What made the difference in Robert's case, and what could make the difference in yours, lies in a natural compound called nitrates. Beetroot contains one of the highest concentrations of natural nitrates we can find in food. When you eat beetroot, your body starts a fantastic conversion process. Nitrates get converted to nitrites, and finally to nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is one of the most important molecules for cardiovascular health and male sexual function. It works like a powerful signal sent to your blood vessels, telling them to relax and open up. When blood vessels expand, blood can flow more freely and powerfully. And most importantly, it can reach the places it needs to go most. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine at Harvard University followed over 3,000 men aged 55 to 75 for 2 years. Men with diets rich in natural nitrates from vegetables showed significant improvement in endothelial function, the foundation of healthy erections. This group also reported 40% higher sexual satisfaction compared to the control group. But here's what's crucial for you to understand. Not all beetroot is created equal, and not every preparation method preserves these benefits. Robert learned how to optimize the benefits of beetroot, and I want to share exactly what he did. The most effective method Robert used was fresh beetroot juice. He drank about half a cup 3 to 4 times per week, usually in the afternoon, around 3 p.m. Why the afternoon? Because nitric oxide needs time to build up in your system. When you drink it in the afternoon, it reaches optimal levels by evening and has positive effects the next morning. Sarah, Robert's wife, helped him mix the beetroot juice with a little natural apple juice and some fresh carrots to improve the taste. He told me that initially, the flavor was a bit unusual, but after a few days, he actually started looking forward to his daily juice time. There's one critical step that most people skip, and it's what I call the activation time. After you cut or juice beetroot, let it sit for 10 minutes before consuming it. During this time, natural enzymes in the beetroot start breaking down cell structures and release nitrates in a form your body can absorb most easily. This little secret can make a big difference in effectiveness. Robert also discovered that drinking beetroot juice with a bit of healthy fat, like a teaspoon of pure olive oil or some walnuts, helped his body absorb the nutrients better. This not only improved effectiveness, but also helped maintain stable blood sugar levels, which is essential for overall health and sexual function. But Robert's story doesn't end there. He shared with me that not only did he see improvement in the bedroom, but he also felt increased energy throughout the day and deeper sleep. And even Sarah commented that he seemed happier and more confident. That's the power of nourishing your body with what it truly needs. Beetroot might be a great start, but it's only one piece of the complete picture. The second vegetable I'm about to share with you works completely differently, targeting another aspect of men's health that many people don't know about. And when you combine both, the results can be truly remarkable. There's another patient whose story still haunts me to this day. James Mitchell, 72, is a former U.S. Air Force pilot who flew F-16s during the Gulf War. This man had once controlled 16-ton fighter jets at 30,000 feet and made life and death decisions in split seconds. But when he walked into my clinic on an April afternoon, I saw in him a weariness I'd never seen in any veteran before. James sat up straight, with that military bearing ingrained in him. Still, there was something in his eyes that told me he was fighting an entirely different battle. "Dr. Anderson," he said in a voice that still carried the authority of an officer, "I used to be the man my wife could lean on. I was the protector, the problem solver. But now—" He paused, looking down at the hands that had once piloted fighter jets. "Now, I feel invisible in my own home." He continued, Martha, my wife, she's still patient, still loving, but I can see that how she looks at me has changed, not because she loves me less, but because I'm not the man she married 47 years ago. I don't want to become a burden to her, but I feel like I'm losing everything that makes me, me. I'd heard similar confessions from hundreds of other men. Still, something in the way James spoke made me understand this wasn't just about sexual function. This was about identity, about purpose, about feeling needed. That's when I decided to share something most people would laugh at with him. James, I said, I want you to try something. And I know what I'm about to say sounds almost too simple, but I need you to trust me. I want you to start eating fresh garlic every day. James looked at me skeptically, then burst out laughing, the first time I'd seen him smile since walking into my office. Garlic, Doc? You're talking about garlic? My mother made me eat garlic when I had a cold as a kid growing up in Ohio. But how's that going to help with my problem? I understood James's reaction. Garlic is, in many ways, the least romantic food you can think of. It's pungent, it lingers on your breath, and most people avoid it before special occasions. But what James's mother and most people don't know is that garlic contains one of the most potent natural compounds for cardiovascular health and male sexual function. I explained to James that sometimes the most effective solutions hide in the most ordinary things. Garlic isn't just a seasoning, it's a natural medicine that's been used for thousands of years, and modern science has finally understood why it's so powerful. I asked James to give me 3 months, just 3 months, to experiment with fresh garlic daily. If nothing changed, we'd discuss other options. He agreed, probably because he was ready to try anything at that point. 3 months later, James returned to my clinic. This time, the first thing I noticed was how he smiled when he greeted me. It was the smile of a confident man, not the forced smile of someone trying to hide the pain. Dr. Anderson, he said, I don't know what kind of magic you worked, but Martha says she's got her husband back. The secret lies in a compound called allicin. When you cut, crush, or chew fresh garlic, you activate an enzyme reaction that produces allicin. This is the compound that gives garlic its characteristic smell. But more importantly, it's also responsible for most of garlic's incredible health benefits. Allicin works like a natural blood vessel cleanser. Over time, our blood vessels accumulate plaque, cholesterol, and other debris that narrow the pathways and restrict blood flow. This is why many men over 60 struggle with sexual function, not because they lack desire, but because blood can't get where it needs to go. A study conducted at Hiroshima University in Japan followed 156 men, aged 60 to 78, for 18 months. The group that used allicin from fresh garlic daily showed significant improvement in blood vessel elasticity and blood flow. But here's what was even more interesting. This group also had 23% higher free testosterone levels compared to the control group. Why does this happen? Allicin doesn't just clean out blood vessels, it also supports your body's natural hormone production. When blood circulation improves, your endocrine glands, including your testicles, receive more oxygen and nutrients. This allows them to function more efficiently and produce hormones at optimal levels. But here's what's crucial. Not every way of using garlic gives you the same results. James learned how to optimize the benefits of garlic, and I want to share exactly what he did. The formula James used was simple but effective. Every day he would slice 2 fresh garlic cloves into thin pieces. Then, he'd let them sit for 10 minutes before adding them to his meal. This is critical because allicin needs time to form after the garlic cells are broken down. James usually added the garlic he had prepared to his dinner. Sometimes, he'd sauté it with vegetables. Sometimes, he'd mix it into a salad with some pure olive oil. Martha, his wife, learned how to incorporate garlic into their favorite family dishes without overwhelming the natural flavors of the food. There's a reason why James chose to eat garlic with dinner. Most of our testosterone is produced during sleep, especially in the early morning. When you eat garlic in the evening, allicin can support this process throughout the night, helping your body make the most of this natural recovery time. One concern many people have about garlic is the smell. James had the same worry, but he discovered a simple trick: eat some fresh parsley after consuming garlic. Parsley contains chlorophyll, a natural compound that helps neutralize the garlic odor in your breath. Additionally, chewing a few fennel seeds or drinking a cup of green tea can also help reduce the smell. James also found that garlic quality matters tremendously. He always chose fresh, firm garlic bulbs with no signs of sprouting or dark spots. Garlic that's been stored too long or has gone bad loses much of its allicin content and is, therefore, less effective. After 3 months of consistent garlic use, James shared with me the changes he experienced. Not only was there a clear improvement in sexual function, but he also felt increased energy and deeper sleep. And even Martha commented that he seemed more alert and focused throughout the day. But the most important thing James told me was, "Dr. Anderson, I feel needed again. I feel like the man Martha fell in love with and married." If what I've shared about beetroot and garlic has resonated with you, I encourage you to share this video with other men in your life, maybe brothers, friends, or people you care about. Sometimes a simple conversation about health can change someone's life. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss other secrets I share specifically for men over 60. But we're not done yet. There's one final vegetable I want to share with you, and this might be the most important of all three. This is the only vegetable I recommend eating in the evening, right before bed, and the reason will surprise you. Of all the patients I've encountered in my 35 years of practice, there's one man whose story taught me something profound about what it means to age with dignity. Walter Hoffman, 75 years old, is a retired accountant from a major insurance company in Chicago. This was a gentleman in the most classic sense, always wearing a crisp suit when he came to see me, always carrying his old fedora hat, and he had this habit of standing up whenever a woman entered the room. Walter never talked much about personal feelings. During our first few appointments, he'd only give brief answers to my questions, always maintaining that professional, reserved exterior. But there was something in his eyes, a profound weariness that wasn't from age or illness, but like he was carrying some invisible burden. Then, one day, after about 6 months of regular visits, Walter suddenly said something I'll never forget. He sat quietly for a few minutes, looking out my office window, then spoke very softly. "Dr. Anderson, I don't know how to say this politely, but I just want to feel like I'm still useful, like I still have something to give." The way he said it, the way he couldn't look directly at me when he spoke those words, made me understand he wasn't just talking about helping around the house or in the community. He was talking about feeling like a complete man, still able to bring joy and intimacy to Evelyn, the wife he'd been with for 52 years. "Evelyn never complains," he continued, his voice still very quiet. "She's always patient, always affectionate, but I can see something has changed in how we are together. Not because there's less love, but because I can't express that love the way a husband should." I'd heard similar confessions from hundreds of other men, but something about the way Walter expressed himself with such dignity and grace made me feel a special responsibility to help him find himself again. That's when I decided to share with Walter a vegetable that few people think about when it comes to men's health, but might be the most important key in this entire equation. "Walter," I said, "I want you to try something that seems very simple, but I believe it can make a significant difference. I want you to start eating fresh asparagus 3 times a week. And most importantly, I want you to eat it with dinner, about an hour before bedtime." Walter looked at me with a slightly surprised expression. "Asparagus? With dinner?" He thought for a moment. "Evelyn usually cooks asparagus for Sunday lunch, but I've never thought about eating it in the evening. Is there something special about that timing, doctor?" This was precisely the question I'd hoped he would ask, because it allowed me to explain one of the most fascinating aspects of male physiology that few people know about. "Walter," I said, "most people don't realize that the male body has a very special hormone cycle. About 70% of our testosterone is produced while we sleep, especially in the early morning hours, between 4 and 7 a.m. Asparagus contains the nutrients needed to support this natural hormone production process." I explained to Walter that asparagus isn't just an ordinary vegetable. It contains a powerful trio of nutrients: folate, glutathione, and vitamin E. Each plays a crucial role in supporting hormone health and male sexual function, but when combined, they create a significant synergistic effect. Walter was a man who appreciated numbers and precise data, so I shared specific scientific research with him. A study conducted at Harvard Medical School followed 89 men aged 65 to 80 for 6 months. Those with diets rich in folate and glutathione from natural sources showed 31% higher free testosterone levels compared to the control group. What was even more interesting was that this group also reported better sleep quality, higher morning energy, and significant improvements in mood and confidence. This wasn't just about physiology, it was about the overall feeling of being a healthy, vital man. Walter agreed to experiment with asparagus for 2 months. I guided him on how to prepare and use asparagus most effectively. Walter's method of using asparagus was simple but carefully calculated. 3 times a week he would choose fresh, green, firm asparagus spears with tight, healthy tips. He'd trim off the tough ends, wash them clean, and steam them lightly for about 4 or 5 minutes until they were tender but still had some crispness. The key was not to overcook them. When asparagus is cooked for too long, many essential nutrients, especially folate and vitamin E, are destroyed. The goal was to keep the asparagus in a state where it still had a bit of crunch, bright green color, and its natural sweet flavor. After steaming, Walter would usually drizzle a little pure olive oil over the asparagus, add a pinch of sea salt, and sometimes a bit of freshly ground black pepper. Evelyn learned how to make asparagus an appealing part of their dinner, sometimes adding a little fresh lemon or a touch of plant-based butter. The timing was also crucial. Walter would eat his asparagus about an hour before bedtime, usually at 8 p.m., since he typically went to sleep at 9 p.m. This allowed his body time to digest and absorb the nutrients before beginning the natural nighttime hormone production cycle. 2 months later, Walter returned to my clinic. This time there was something very different about him, not just in how he walked with more confidence, but there was a light in his eyes I'd never seen before. He sat down, looked me straight in the eye with a genuine smile, and said, "Dr. Anderson, I don't know how to explain this politely, but I feel like I'm 55 again." Walter continued to share with me the changes he experienced. "I sleep deeper than I have in 10 years. I wake up in the morning with energy and alertness. But I'd forgotten I could have. But most importantly, doctor," he paused, searching for the right words. "Most importantly, I feel alive again. I can express my love for Evelyn the way a husband should." He also shared that Evelyn had commented on positive changes, not just in the bedroom, but in daily life. He was more alert in conversations and more enthusiastic about activities they shared, and it seemed like he'd regained his confidence and joy in caring for his wife. What impressed me most about Walter's story was how asparagus acted as a catalyst for comprehensive change. Not only did it improve sexual function, but it also helped him sleep better, have more energy, and most importantly, feel valuable and needed. Now you know about these 3 powerful vegetables: beetroot for blood circulation, garlic for cleaning blood vessels and boosting testosterone, and asparagus for supporting nighttime hormone production. Right now you're standing at a crossroads. You can choose the familiar path, continuing to live with those silent worries, those unspoken disappointments, and the feeling that your best days are behind you. Or you can choose the other path, the path that Robert, James, Walter, and David chose. The path of hope, action, and positive change. If you're ready to start the journey of reclaiming your confidence and strength, hit that like button right now. This not only lets me know this message resonates with you, but it also helps this video reach other men who need to hear these things. In the comments below, let me know which of these 3 vegetables you're going to try first. Write beetroot if you want to start with improving blood circulation. Write garlic if you're ready to cleanse your vascular system. Or write asparagus if you want to focus on supporting natural hormone production. I read every comment and will answer your questions. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the following videos. And if this video has helped you, I encourage you to share it with other men in your life. Maybe it's your brothers, close friends, or neighbors you care about. Sometimes a simple conversation about health can completely change someone's life.